I think we're kind of queuing up to see some Msn.dk versus Chuckfrancis, which exciting for me. I haven't seen a lot of Chuckfrancis play. I am familiar with MSN's gameplay. I've faced him several times and gotten schooled by him quite a lot.
Mm.
But I'm curious to see kind of, Chuckfrancis's play style. I've seen him compete against some of the top players, that stream often. Definitely a very strong player. So kind of looking at this draft here, what do you think? I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards MSN's draft than Chuckfrancis's draft.
Yeah, I mean, Civ-wise, I love the Mongols. I like the Byzantines. I play a little bit of Delhi sometimes, so this is definitely my aisle over there. Chuckfrancis for sure doesn't have a bad draft. That just make that clear. Those are some very strong civs as well. House of Lancaster has been really strong. HRE has always been strong. I don't even know if there's a single time where HRE wasn't okay to play. French is always French. English is English. Ottomans have been very strong lately. And then Abbasid is, yeah, Abbasid as well, like very versatile civ, and so I don't think that he's like, yeah, I agree that MSN has maybe the better draft in general, but not by far, I would say.
No, it's always little advantages, but in my opinion, Byzantines, Japan, and Rus are probably three of the strongest civs right now.
Yeah.
Delhi, another very strong civ, and same with Malians, right? I just kind of look up and down his lineup, and it pains me to say this, the weakest civ in MSN's pool is Mongols.
Yeah, yeah. I have to admit that, even though I love the Mongols as much as the next guy, but yes, that probably is the weakest civ. Although I would say maybe depending on the map. But yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. First matchup is Malians against English. Um, and on
Ready to
Cliff
dive
side,
in? Looks
so let's switch this up here. We're going in game. And there we have it. So Msn.dk is starting on the left side with the Malians in blue. His opponent Chuckfrancis playing the English in pink and is immediately opening with a barracks. So we could see some potential aggression, although that is immediately scouted out by Msn.dk. So very good, making his way over to the base just to see, if there's some shenanigans. English, they can open with a couple different things, right? I mean, you sometimes see the double farms underneath the town center. You do see the barracks from time to time. That they can do a lot of different things, and especially as with Malians, with the pit mine, you want to have that safe and cozy in your base, and so it's always good to know what is your opponent doing, because you do not want to get surprised by Dark Age Man-at-Arms, which we see the first one, Vanguard Man-at-Arm, coming out here, making his way over to the pit mine, which is kind of in the back of the base, but still outside of the town center, so definitely vulnerable for now. And Msn.dk actually opening with an outpost here just to make sure that he doesn't lose this passive gold income.
and look at this. Okay, it's a mill that he's going to put right next to the outpost. But this timing right here, right, from Chuckfrancis getting this first man-at-arms here, MSN's going to have to rush up this tower. He's going to be able to get it without losing a Vil. Slight pathing error, but the Vil's going to get out of there. This tower will be perfectly fine as the second Vanguard Men-at-Arms comes on over, and quick garrison forces these guys away, and it looks like all Chuckfrancis is going to get from his early Dark Age play is a little bit of an idle time every time these villagers have to garrison, and just sort of some annoying pressure on MSN. Key little detail that I really like that MSN did here, he's got the mill next to the tower, and he put a sheep there. So now these villagers can kind of gather, they could garrison, and continue to sort of defend this pit mine. Really nice and sharp, outside-the-box thinking, if you will, from MSN.
Yeah, absolutely. I really love this play here with the sheep. Otherwise, your villagers are kind of useless. You don't really want to mine the gold because he already has more than he would need to age up, and so you don't want to mine the gold. You don't have the wood, so you cannot construct further houses, and you don't really need to right now and all that. So the sheep, really nice play here. And even though the men-at-arms have 3 ranged armor already in Dark Age, you cannot keep this up forever. You will, like, slowly but surely, MSN will be able to wiggle them down. And Chuckfrancis already had stopped the aggression, so it's only those two. He forced some reaction, so he's not, unhappy about that. This is a lot of resources that MSN had to invest into that, and with some additional houses, he would also increase the gather rate, the passive income, and so this is some, small eco damage that he kind of already achieved, and then he can just continue on with his plan for the feudal age, which some idle time here, unnecessary on the villagers for him.
I think we're going to get an Abbey here. Just the way Chuckfrancis played. Yep, there you go. We do have an Abbey of Kings coming down with these 2 men-at-arms. He left one back that was severely injured because he intends to just fully heal them up with the King or the Abbey of Kings. Men-at-arms are now moving their way back. Gonna get that healing here. MSN, just so clean timing, right? He's passing by Chuckfrancis's base just to see what's going on. Sees the Abbey, kind of... now just trying to decide, is this going to be a 2 TC Abbey of Kings? Is this going to be a 1 TC? So I expect him to drop off these sheep and then just come straight back to see, how many are on stone, if any at all, and formulate his game plan here. He is getting his Mansa Quarry up, very common landmark for Malians. So I think we might see some Mustafadis, potentially Sofas, out of MSN. He's a really strong raider, very good at raiding from multiple angles. So I think Sofa fit his playstyle. I just don't think Sofa are the best feudal age unit for Malian. So we'll see what direction he goes, whether it's stables or barracks.
Yeah, I would fully expect a Donzo Musufadi comp, just because with the Abbey of Kings, like, you have the King, the Donzos are very strong against him, and usually you see Horsemen coupled with the King as well, which the Donzos would just shut down, and then with the Musufadi countering the Men-at-Arms, and also being very, very cheap. So that would be a lot of favorable trades, most likely for MSN, which then would, give him a little advantage, and then he's in Castle Age earlier than that and all that. So yeah, I expect an infantry comp from him, but we'll see. I mean, right now, archery range actually being dropped, so next to the barracks, or in addition to the barracks, rather. No second pit mine, by the way, right now.
Yeah, if you suspect aggression, a second pit mine could be kind of greedy, or perceived as kind of greedy, or easily punishable. His option of greed looks like he's starting these cattle ranches early, and he's going to go sort of with the Donzo, I'm going to guess Jav Thrower comp here, to try to deter any sort of aggression. Chuckfrancis really coming out with a 1-1-1 comp here. He's got a barracks, archery range coming up, and a stable here. So I think Chuckfrancis woke up this morning, chose violence, and is going to aggressively go after MSN.
Yeah, I mean, Malians is one of those civilizations where if you let them cook for too long, you might be in trouble, because they have a lot of passive gold income, there's a lot of passive food income, and so if you just let them do their thing, it can become ugly very fast. And so aggression, I think English is very good at aggressing. Yes, it is a very turtley civ, and it has a lot of defensive bony, but it can be very aggressive and super annoying to deal with, especially with the longbows. And then yeah, MSN already has the archery range, so he could go into the javelin throws as soon as he needs to.
Yeah, MSN gonna just copy Chuckfrancis here, going with a 1-1-1 comp. Will he use the Sofa to raid, or will he use the Sofa to kind of counter any longbows that come out from Chuckfrancis? We will have to see kind of how he wants to play that one. But I do think this Spear Jav Thrower comp is going to be strong enough to so far hold Chuckfrancis back. MSN's kind of moving out for that second pit mine here. Chuckfrancis scouts it out, starts kind of wheeling around, but that second pit mine's on the back of MSN's base. It's going to be really kind of awkward and difficult to really go after that. Can be done, just not easily.
No, yeah, and especially if you have a kind of slow comp as well. I mean, minus the horseman, obviously. You can be trapped fairly easily. Malians have pretty mobile units, even though they rely a lot of times on infantry. Um, right? I mean,
Hey, Eliona, thank you very much for the raid. Greatly appreciate it. Hope you had a good stream. Right now, for those raiders that are just joining us, we're at the beginning of Warchief Club 133 here. We've got Msn.dk versus Chuckfrancis in Game 1 on Cliffside. And looks like Chuckfrancis definitely wants to punish this second pit mine from MSN. A little awkward of a rally point to get back here, but able to cause a little bit of a headache for MSN right there. But gonna pull back and heal up with the king. MSN is still also scouting out Chuckfrancis to kind of get a sense of what's coming. Knows there's no second TC, so this is either an all-in from Chuckfrancis or this is going to be some sort of castle timing build out of Chuckfrancis. And given what he's seen so far, definitely has the look and feel of an all-in.
yeah, especially if he made his way around and he had a scout on the left side of Chuckfrancis's base just a little earlier. He saw there's only 2 villagers on gold, which clearly indicates there's no fast castle coming at all. Anytime soon right now, sitting at 170 gold, which is enough, for example, to get the wheelbarrow, but other than that, or some military attacks, but yeah, that's about it. So MSN knows that is a lot of fuel aggression coming his way, and he needs to hold it. And as long as he can hold it and doesn't lose any villagers, he, by the way, killed 2 villagers with one of the sofas that he just sent out. Ooh, closely, almost. Wow, this is such a dangerous life here for the villagers here on the Malian side, though. On this wood line being camped here by the longbows, there need to be some javelin throwers right now. Still didn't lose a single villager. There's one falling down.
Jav throwers respond to the longbows, going to force them back. MSN going to go with the steeled arrow upgrade on his jav throwers and on his defensive buildings here, and maybe he senses he has a little bit of a window. He's pushing out with the sofa. Sofa forced to kind of fall back because of the jav spearmen. And right now, MSN has jav throwers. He doesn't have much to really take down these spearmen.
Yeah, he doesn't have. I mean, he has one archer actually. So one archer here. But yeah, doesn't really have anything against the spearmen, so his sofas need to be careful. But the Donzos can technically go toe to toe with the spearmen, and then he has the javelin throwers for the backline for the longbows. A couple ones very low, and that's the issue that you sometimes have with the javelin throwers, is to micro them properly, to not really overkill units, but still kill them actually. And once they're out of the fight, the king will heal them up again. So this is the strength of the English army right now. As long as you don't lose your units, you just fall back a little bit. You have your outpost with the network of castles buff, and then you can just slowly heal them up again. And so really difficult to fight or to engage with the Malians, and that was a very, very brutal engagement for MSN. Didn't really kill a lot, and he lost a lot in the process. So definitely a good start, a good first big engagement here for Chuckfrancis.
MSN is doubling down. I think he's going to go Sofa Mass Archer here. Double archery range, giving him 3 total. He's moving more villagers over to wood. We're definitely going to see just sort of a Mass Archer play out of MSN here. Chuckfrancis putting down the first ram. I think he's going to start targeting production buildings, whatever happens to be exposed from MSN's base. And MSN sort of is in this awkward position right now where he has to defend multiple places on the map. He's got to defend his woodline, his 2 pit mines, and these backberries that he's currently gathering from. Meanwhile, Chuckfrancis, he's just doing the good old English farm transition.
I love the scouting sheep here on the edge of his base here. But yeah, Chuckfrancis walking in now with the 2 rams, focusing the blacksmith right now. So by the way, no, except for the steeled arrow, there's no upgrade for the Malians, for MSN. Now the blacksmith is destroyed. Rams are kind of
Oh,
moving in, but there's a TC already, and there's a couple of
Longbows on the wood line.
kills. Ah, this is brutal. A couple villagers falling down. Archer's focusing the lumber camp, which is really lucky for MSN. He could have lost a couple more villagers by now. Sofa's trying to stave off the rams here. Spearman coming in. Archer's on the spearman. So this fight should be a lot better here for MSN, especially since the outpost has not been constructed as of yet, but Chuckfrancis still has a lot of longbows in the back, and they are doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, this tower might not get up. MSN is pushing out. Jav throwers are on the longbows. King goes down here, and MSN has a good comp now that he's gotten these archers to really be able to deal with these spearmen. That's what he was lacking in the first fight. He seems to have fixed that by going triple archery range, and Chuckfrancis is going to be pushed back. And that's a great read from MSN, realizing where he's weak, which is dealing with these spearmen, and Jav throwers just weren't going to cut it. He made a hard switch and sort of caught Chuckfrancis and was able to take a good fight and sort of even it out a little bit more.
Yeah, and that fight definitely was a lot more in MSN's favor. I mean, yes, he still lost a lot of value here, but he lost about 1,000. Oh no, sorry, I'm not doing math now, but like it was better for him this time, and so if he can continue this up, his passive income should give him the edge that he is looking for. Meanwhile, trying to find some raids again with the sofa.
Yeah, and MSN is doing exactly what he should do, except for his woodline. 2 more villagers go down because those English longbows are able to kind of snipe them out. Finally moving to this back, smaller woodline. He's got 1 vill, 2 vills going to the woodline. Needs to change that rally, though. All right, he catches it. Nice little sofa raid on English farms. 1 villager going to go down here, help even it out a little bit. But MSN's doing, kind of playing textbook, if you will. He takes a winning fight. He's leaning a little bit harder into greed. You saw maybe from minute 9 to minute 13, he wasn't adding in more cattle and making more ranches. But as soon as he won that fight, he realized, okay, I could either counterattack or I can lean harder into greed. And you saw him just make a couple more ranches, add a few more cattle to it, just to increase his passive income. And I think that is absolutely the right play that he should make.
Yeah, I totally agree, and it was about time that he was switching from this wood line. I kind of expected him to switch a lot earlier, because there were he didn't lose too many villagers, to be fair, but he did lose more than he needed to. And yeah, Chuckfrancis is again trying the same thing as before, but also putting down a wall here, which is really interesting to see that, but it makes a lot of sense. So he cannot be flanked from that side. He has the second outpost, so he has a nice line here with the bonus. 4th ram is being constructed right now, and yeah, as this was pointed out in chat, the rams are really putting him on a clock here. Monster Core, you do not want to lose that. Technically it's only about 2 villages income, but at the same time, that is what is keeping his cattle production up, actually. So yeah, don't want to lose that.
Yeah, absolutely. These rams are going to do a lot of destruction, whether they can pick off the production, whether they can take down a cattle ranch. MSN is pushing out here. He's got enough jav throwers, he's got enough archers here to really do some damage to Chuckfrancis' comp. Sofa are going to dive on top of these rams, force them back here, and I actually think Chuckfrancis is slowly winning this one. MSN's forced to pull back, and now he doesn't have the military. We might be seeing the beginning of the end here for the Malians.
Yeah, it doesn't really have a whole lot of front line. He does have the sofa, but then again he's facing a lot of spearmen, so that's kind of difficult to engage with. Sofa also were getting a little bit distracted by the rams, and then even if you cut through the spearmen, there's still men at arms that you have to kind of contest with, and as long as you don't have the Musafadi warriors, you don't really have a good counter against the men at arms in Feudal Age. And so that's kind of rough, actually. And I'm pleasantly surprised, I have to say, about this this first matchup of the tournament here. Chuckfrancis putting up a really good fight here, and is actually pressuring MSN really hard here right now. Artists were garrisoned in the TC, now popping out again and trying to fight against the longbows. But Chuckfrancis is confident. He's taking that fight underneath the town center, which, yeah, if you want to do that, you know that you're gonna win this. Otherwise, yeah, it's kind of dangerous to do that.
Yeah, this is a bold move by Chuckfrancis. His men-at-arms are absorbing a lot of the arrow fire, but he's slowly running out of them right now. So these archers will be susceptible. The question is, does the TC go down fast enough for him to not lose a lot of these longbows? Villagers get pulled out of the TC. They're going to start burning. A couple villagers are getting picked off by the longbows.
Yeah, 10 villagers already. TC is burning down to 1,300 health. That's a couple more hits by the rams. 1,000 health and less. So as long as he doesn't lose this one remaining ram, which is, to be fair, like down to 30% health. Insufficient wood. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is really tight right now. He needs to destroy this ram immediately, and saved by a strain of a hair here. Oh my goodness. This was really close, and oh wow. Okay, I mean, but the downside
3 more
is,
rams coming down.
yeah, that's like, we do have more rams coming. He doesn't really have the wood right now to repair that, so it's still burning, it's still losing health, and Chuckfrancis still has a superior army. He has more value, he has more numbers, he can put down some more rams, and then he can put the final nail in the coffin. I don't think there's anything that MSN can do right now to stop that. He also lost a little bit of production. He still doesn't have... Wait, never mind. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have the blacksmith, so there's no way to improve his military in that regard. And there's probably the final push here coming.
Yeah, Sofa's just trying to do what damage they can to each ram, but Longbow's making quick work of them, because we're still in Feudal Age, no imported armor here, and TC is about to go down. A couple more hits from these rams, and we're going to have a landmark victory for Chuckfrancis here. Villagers desperately trying to repair, just not gonna be able to do it, and Chuckfrancis takes game 1 in this best of 5 series.
Wow. Damn. That was impressive. Really nicely played by Chuckfrancis. Some very good aggression early on, right from the start of the game. Not losing a whole lot there, and just, yeah, waiting for the right moment to strike. MSN did an incredible job to not lose villages. I know I would have lost at least 4 times as many. So that was really well on his part, but not able to fight off the English army, even though the fights were more or less even if you look at the numbers. But wow, crazy game.
Yeah, one of the things that I kind of noticed that I think sort of inched Chuckfrancis closer to a victory was where MSN was gathering food from. He was forced on the berries in the back of his base. He was forced away from premium food gathering options. And yes, he had cattle, and he was doing a little bit of a cow boom there, which is going to give him food. But if you kind of look at the economy total, despite the cow boom, Chuckfrancis had more food than MSN, and that's in part just due to MSN being forced onto inferior food options, berries, as opposed to deer or cows for that matter. So Chuckfrancis, I think, did a really good job of not only playing the matchup well, he played the map very well.